Hey everyone, just real quick here at the top of the show, I wanted to let everybody know we're starting a new clips channel. Should be a link showing up top here somewhere. It's to try and find an audience that's looking for shorter content. So if you're here, you probably like the longer stuff. But if you could help us out with a sub, some likes, comment or two, might help the channel gain some initial traction. So if you can help us out, please do. And if you didn't know, live episodes are at twitch.tv/BlazeandBob, usually Friday and Saturday nights. Take it easy. Welcome to Warcraft Reloaded, a podcast brought to you by Mash Those Buttons, covering World of Warcraft Classic and its community. I am Bobby, also known as BlizzCon, and we are joined this week after missing last week, Mel, aka Melorina. How you doing?
I'm back. I don't think I have COVID anymore.
Yep. It was really weird because she thought she was going to be able to come on the pod, but the COVID stuff was like very hit and miss. So it was like really weird, but yeah, she's here now. So luckily, thank goodness. We're also joined by Ayle, friend of the show, part-time host. How you doing, Ayle?
Wow, part-time host. I've been upgraded. Doing well. Most Canadians,
it's like getting a promotion without getting a raise, you know, it's like
brutal. Most Canadians don't have any internet today because they're on Rogers network, but I'm on Rogers, so I'm here.
Nice. Wow. Nice. All right. And first time on the show, YouTuber and streamer extraordinaire, speedrun aficionado, and Scourge of the Stormwind Mage Tower. Welcome to the show, Sarthe.
Thank you for having me. Been watching the podcast for a long time, and I'm glad to finally be here. And I missed your first message like years ago about being here, so I'm glad we reconnected.
Oh yeah. You were one of the first that I tried to get on the show because I absolutely loved. Like I called you the Scourge of the Mage Tower because every once in a while after raid, we would all portal to the Stormwind Mage Tower. And you were there just raiding it, and it was some really fun PvP times. Like we didn't care about buffs because like raid was over. Like it was really fun. So definitely cherish some of those memories because we would eventually take you guys down.
Yeah,
eventually.
I would actually every time too. I would just group up. Because back then I was playing like almost exclusively Rogue. So anyone else on the server that was like my viewer, we would just be like, who wants to go to Stormwind right now? And you would just go there. And there's like 8 of us who could easily like take out pretty much anyone. But if someone was sitting like AFK with world buffs, we didn't kill them. But if you came like teleported in from the Mage Tower, it's like your raid's done. So it's free game. And then it's just a huge battle.
Oh yeah. And it was so much fun because, like lots of the things, the griefing and stuff like of the world buffs, like everybody cared so much about that, but after raid it was just a really fun thing. And so like you were one of the first classic streamers that I actually like followed quite a bit, so happy to have you on the show. Really excited.
Yeah, thank you again for having me.
Definitely. All right, so the top of the show, I like to remind everybody that we stream live on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/BlazeandBob. That's BlazinBob. We usually do the show Friday nights, sometimes Saturdays, sometimes Sundays. You need to follow us on Twitter at WC Reloaded to know for sure when we go live. You can also join the Discord at mash.gg/Discord. I'd like to start at the top of the show. We started our new Patreon. We have a couple DPS tiers and one tank tier. We're close to, we're getting close to maybe being a 10-man raid, but we need more raiders to join the Patreon. That's
Listen,
Patreon.
I have a gripe with this whole tier system that you set up without consulting me, because I think that healer should be the highest tier, not your tanks.
Really? But I mean, you just have
Listen,
like
compare
fewer, you know?
Yip to Mel, right? I mean, you just have a higher tier with your healers here. And, you know,
I don't know. I thought it was pretty good. I didn't see anybody else doing it, so I was like, well, this is the tiers. I don't know how to do Patreon. You guys asked us to do it, so that's it. At the top of the show, we're going to thank every tank patron. We only have one at the moment, and we thank you so much. That's Ryan McNerney. Thank you so much for your contribution and taking all the damage for us. We have no new reviews. We're kind of dry on that. We haven't had one in over a month. So if you can get on iTunes and give us a review, we would love that. But we did have an email. I'm going to let you read that, Mel, if you don't mind.
yeah, I saw you put this in here and it said episode 33. And I was like, Bob, you really can't go back into the archives that far just to pull up something to share. Come on now. But this is an email from Bjorn? I probably said that wrong, but that's what I'm going to go with. He said, hi, listening through all your old episodes is a way to get hyped for the forthcoming Lich King Classic. I love it, and it helps me get through the early mornings with my toddler that is way too happy in early hours. That's rough. I feel you there. I may remember this wrong, but feel free to correct me. When my guild used Loot Council and Legion, in the council, we could see what eye level upgrade it is for the character. How many days it's been since the character's last loot. That really helped us to distribute gear in a just way. The members of the raid could choose need, greed, or off-spec. Thought that you could help tip you guys to Loot Council. Thought that it could help tip you guys to Loot Council. Really love the podcast. Thanks a bunch. And greetings from Sweden. Greetings from Sweden.
So the reason I thought this email would be great is because Mel and I have only done DKP, even back in vanilla TBC, Wrath, and the start of Kata before we quit. We only did DKP or the other one. I forget. It's the one where you get extra stuff. Like you can't get like multiple. I forget. It's another form of DKP where you get two different points, like DKP points and then contribution points or something. I forget what it's called. But we had a guy on the show that broke down all the different looting things. And so I know Sarthe and Ayle have definitely been involved in Loot Council. So I wanted to ask, this sounds like it's something that was built in the game at Legion's Point or something like that. But you guys had a add-on that did it. So how did that exactly work? Were you able to see that type of information, or did you have to do a bunch of pre-checking to actually know what you're doing in the Loot Council?
From my experience, the add-on actually tracks everything for you for the most part. So you can see what someone has, or they could say also like a note if they rolled need on it. They could say like, this is for my 4-piece or this is for my 2-piece. So you can look there. I never actually looked to see if you could track how long it's been since someone got an item piece. I think you tried to stay like objective and like realize this person hasn't gotten something in a long time or in a couple raids, and tried to think about that. But it's always kind of hard to stay like completely objective. Like no matter what, as humans, you have your own like inherent biases. So I think it's always like you need a good council where everyone can like check and balance each other.
Yeah, for sure. I've heard that's the catalyst to having it work, is actually having some sort of unbiased opinions.
Yeah, I've used that add-on. There is a way to see when someone was last looted an item. But with Onslaught, we used Loot Sheet, and then for Eden as well, we used Loot Sheet and TBC. And we're actually going back to Loot Council and Wrath, so we've been looking around for different add-ons and things to use.
I think Loot Sheet is Loot sheet can be the most frustrating thing ever because you can have like a resto shaman for some reason put like Skull of Gul'dan as their number one. Not for some reason, because realistically in speedrun guilds right now, every resto in your guild run has Skull of Gul'dan. It's actually almost even proud. But like something like that in a normal guild can be so frustrating to see someone go for that item, which is obviously the biggest upgrade for them also, which makes sense, but it's like very skewed in how it affects the different classes or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you have a good group, it looks like that basically, you know, that is the way to go, loot council. But we have had luck with DKP, but it definitely sometimes gears up the people we don't exactly need geared up first, you know, which definitely hurts us in the long run. But it's worked for us so far. I don't know what the plan is going into Wrath. You know, we've had a lot of listeners like, you know, kind of like nudging us to go loot council, but that really just depends on the officers, and Yip's not here to really speak on that. So if we do it, we do it. If we don't, we don't. Like, I'm still pretty happy with the group of people that I play with, and that's really what matters the most, you know.
Yeah, I think it's fair to like think like it's hard for people to always stay happy if loot is their primary objective in the game too. So like loot council systems or any different loot system, you have to be happy with it within your guild.
Yeah, it's all about the culture you have, you know. And for a guild like Salad Bakers or what Onslaught was, like, you guys are more looking towards beating times and everything of that nature. So you're more of like a, what's it called, hive mentality rather than a, ooh, I got this new shiny mentality.
Yeah, I'm curious for what Ayle, if you think it ever worked against you, because I'm pretty sure Dolly thought it could work against him using the loot sheets. What we do now, and I think what a lot of guilds do, is like basically a loot council. For us in particular, which is like definitely more rare than most situations, we pretty much have a lottie council where our GM just like decides who gets something. But usually officers chime in, especially when it's like a healing item or something he has less like knowledge about. But I'm curious if it, like performing at the highest level, Ayle, back in Onslaught, did you guys have issues with the sheet?
Ayle's muted or AFK.
Muted. Is that working now?
It's working now.
Okay. So basically what happened is Dally filled out his sheet incorrectly. He stacked it towards the AQ tier. So that was kind of more of a mistake on his side, which he never really admitted. But we did end up having a problem towards the end of Nax. Mm-hmm. And that's that we should have... Hunters basically had equal priority on trinkets. So because they were only competing on bows, they all agreed to put their bows lower and put trinkets first. So they got all the trinkets towards the end of Nax, and it really hurt us towards the end for speedrunning and things like that. So
yeah.
Oh, wow.
So that's something like when really we should have been funneling gear towards, you know, the top pumper warriors. It would have been better for our speedrun performance, but because it was all equal, all the hunters got the good shit. And by the time we realized, we're like, oh, that probably shouldn't have worked that way.
So it was collusion. They colluded together.
So wait, so with the loot list, did you fill that out each tier, like at the start of each tier? Or did you fill it out at the start of the game, like the start of the expansion?
Ours was split 2 tiers per list. So there was like a year 1 list with MC BWL, and then there was like a year 2 list with AQ Nax.
Interesting. I feel like that definitely doesn't leave room for early on mistakes or anything of that nature. Like, it kind of leaves it.
Yeah, one of the tiers, if you split it up too hard, it's like during one of the tiers you get no loot that entire tier, and then you wait for the next tier and then get everything, or the opposite.
Yeah, which doesn't necessarily help the raid as much as, you know, making sure that everybody's geared enough to get through the next phase of content, you know. Yeah, but it was classic. And
yeah, and so like for example, like Dally's list, I don't know why, but he didn't put Nax loot at the top of his second year list, so we didn't really get Nax loot. And then so like he was pissed about it, but like it was kind of his own fault. So I don't know.
It's funny to hear.
Dude, we'll have to. He's been on the pod 3 different times. We had him on recently. We'll have to ask him about that next time.
I mean, he's not gonna like to hear that, but
oh well. I mean,
that's just. I mean, I was a warrior too, so I knew exactly what his list was. All the lists are public. My opinion, he fucked up. So that's
we're gonna have to get his rebuttal on this accusation here.
Yep.
Well, he's been very outspoken against it. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I would like to hear what he has to say again, I guess, in response. But yeah,
cool. Yeah. Well, I mean, and it can work in weird way. Like DKP can work in weird ways too. Like for instance, all of the warlocks in in phase 2, like basically had nothing they really wanted except for stuff off Vash and KT. And it was really like we didn't spend anything. And then we just got to super gear, fast. Well, I got to, because I actually spent my DKP, got to like gear up fast in BT and Hyjal. And I got to do a bunch of 99 parses because I got a bunch of gear quickly, and that's the best way to parse is to have the gear quickest, so it can kind of work in different ways. Nothing was worse
than listening to the Wardlocks complain about their tier not dropping or them never getting their tier. And when it would drop, they'd bid 1 DKP on it and bitch that a priest got it for 5 DKP. And I'm like,
yeah, well,
if you want the item,
and like I came in
for the item.
Yeah, I came in with like 120 DKP, and I'm pretty sure like I spent like 20 on each of the 4-piece tier, and that 6% to Shadow Bolt was just ginormous, and just like boosted me up right a bit. Like everybody else saved theirs for Skull and everything, and I still got Skull at the end, but I got the parses early on, and then like it was hard to parse later on, after everybody got the gear. But yeah, it's just all of the different systems have highs and lows.
Getting the gear early feels really good. We had a similar, we do splits, and we'll usually put like 1 physical, 1 caster, and 1 like healer in the alt split, and then the rest of the raid is like kind of usually mostly alts. And so one of the raids early on, I got like all 4 pieces. I got 4-piece and bow. It was like I called it my slurp raid, but it was like early on it was so easy because we swapped 1 character into that raid and just gave them all of the gear from that raid each time. It was so nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, well, yeah, thank you so much. And I think it's Bjorn, I think is how you say it. Thank you so much for your email. I don't think it's Bjorn, but I think it's Bjorn. But I'm not sure. So don't hate us if we got it wrong. All right, guys. We're all in beta. So I'm just gonna open up. What have you been doing lately in WoW? Who wants to go first? Crickets. Okay.
I'll go.
You go.
In WoW, obviously speed running is in full effect, and that's my favorite aspect of the game. So right now that is going strong. All of the top guilds are going, and it's all very competitive. So I'm playing Hunter now, and then on the beta, I've just been testing a lot of Death Knight and Hunter things. And today was like testing how much DPS a Hunter can do on a big pull. And the most damage I did was 22,000 DPS on a big pull.
Dude, okay. So I just jumped in to tell you hey, don't forget, you're coming on the pod. And then I just got sucked in and just watched you for the 2 hours leading up to the pod. Cause you were just I wasn't even playing, but I was like, oh, look at all those numbers. And it was crazy. So satisfying.
Yeah. It feels really, really good to now as a Hunter's always had the weakest AoE forever. And now it is I don't know if even a demo lock will do more. I'm not sure yet. I haven't seen anyone else do 20k DPS on 1 pull yet.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it's absolutely nuts because like there's so many things that it's crazy because all of the private server stuff, there's so much that seems to be wrong. It's crazy because in vanilla, it seemed like there was some stuff wrong, right? And in TBC, it seems like there was quite a bit more stuff wrong. Now in Wrath, it seems like they just had it all wrong. Like, and we're just finding out all kinds of different things, like everything from how much experience you get in dungeons to like warrior tanks actually doing like a, you know, it's kind of like fury tanking in vanilla, but they're only getting like 20 points in protection and getting a ton in arms and just doing massive damage. Like we're seeing like all kinds of different weird shit. And it's really cool.
Yeah, I think interestingly enough, from the players that have played for the last 10 years of Wrath, I think most of the information coming out, or most of their information, I've found to be very close to right. But they also have a lot of information that goes against what you're seeing in the public much more often, right? Someone in the chat watching right now is like Jamie, and he's been pushing for saying that like survival hunters are scripted a little bit different on the private server realms, and so marksman will be really powerful comparatively. And I've just really been like testing things and finding that all to be true. And then also I'm in a group because Crix and I do a podcast as well, and we were going to do
it's great.
Yeah, and we're going to do a tank podcast, and in there's someone who's pushing very aggressively. He's been pushing for prot warriors, and especially prot warriors in dungeons and how powerful they are. And I think seeing that is like crazy. It's so much damage. I've been pushing
that too. I've been trying to tell everybody, everybody said prop warriors suck. I'm sitting here going, dude, I played back in Wrath. We were server second to do Sarthe 3 Drakes and Yogg 4 lights or 0 lights. And we had a warrior main tank. Like, I don't think they're going to be as bad as everybody says. I think maybe private servers just had the others buffed up a little too much. Possibly.
I just feel like you can't judge anything about what we did 10 years ago as to what's going to be good now, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, we had full prot warriors going through MC, right? Like, I think there's so much more knowledge.
That was vanilla, though. Stuff was getting really, started to get figured out pretty good in Wrath. Like you were starting to like really see and Wrath just got a lot easier with comps and your buffs and everything else. Like TBC's been a little bit crazy with like the grouping situations and everything. Whereas in Wrath, most buffs you get raid wide. There's a few different things, but it's just it's just like I think we're going to see a lot of different things. And like, I was giving Rug shit in this chat last night. I was like, dude, I don't think Affy locks are going to be as good as you think they are. And I might have to eat crow, but I'm just like, I don't remember him doing shit in actual, Wrath. But at the same time, I don't remember warriors doing shit in actual classic vanilla, like actual vanilla. So I could definitely be totally wrong, but it's exciting just to see these different things that everybody's coming up with just in, the few weeks of beta that we've had so far.
Yeah, I think we need to see right now, anyone who's putting out any information it's all skeptical currently, right?
Well, and most of them say that too, like they own it. Like, Crix, Rugs, Scott EJ, they all say like, this is what I know from private servers, they're not trying to say, they're like, it could be wrong, and I love that part of it too, like, because what else are we going to do? Not, like we're going to use whatever tools we have, and that's private servers, right?
Yeah. And people have been playing it for so long that like they have figured out a very good way of playing it. But I'm very intrigued because the mentality actually Felipe wrote it too, and I've talked about this a lot on my stream, is the mentality of the classic player is very different than the private server player. In general, private servers are specifically focused on or boss damage, usually single target, but always boss damage. And for the mentality of a classic player, most classic players, the most important thing is overall throughout the whole raid.
Which I've just recently finally been dragged kicking and screaming, forced to be like that. Like I came back and like, you know, we named trash in vanilla trash because it was trash. We didn't like it, you know, like, yeah. So like boss damage was all that we cared about. We didn't really have a logs thing to track, you know, we just could save our damage, you know, meters. And like, that was our bragging rights on different forums and things of that nature. That's how you found out who was the best DPS, is everybody's like posting their logs, you know, so no one's going to parse through the trash. So that just didn't happen. I think that's kind of why private servers were the same way, is because no one's going to take the time to parse through that, whereas Warcraft logs does it for us. So I've recently turned into a overall Andy too. Sorry,
yeah, that's like a really salient point by Sarthe, because it affects the way the metas are shaped as well. Because, you know, in private servers, generally people will follow that meta, but the speedrunners are really defining the meta in Classic, and they do a lot more of theory crafting and, you know, trying different strategies, for example, to see what works differently. And because, you know, the live game is different from private servers based on, you know, whatever the data says or however Blizzard makes it. There's a lot of room to change, and metas will change and adapt over the course of the game, where in private servers, like I feel like it's a lot less so. You know, it's they stick to generally what, you know, they feels best. They go with that. That's what it is for that server, right? But when it comes to speedrunning and how they're defining the meta, I feel like there's definitely room for, you know, experimentation and changes.
Yeah, I think so. And I think, you know, I fought it for a long time, but I actually do see the merit and overall. And I think it's actually, like, I've actually changed. Like, I actually push for it every week now. And, you know, it's something I never did before. I was always like, oh, it's trash. I'll just do my thing.
And then there's always going to be the Orlando factor, which is how best can he make his warrior pump huge damage, right? So, you know, he'll always be able to put you know, his brown up at the top.
He knows Wrath really well, and I think he's going Affliction Lock. He knows Wrath really well. He's a just phenomenal player. That like there is the two factions, right? If you're a parsing guild, basically, so you're only focused about the boss damage, and then if you're like overall damage, and then I guess there's obviously people who just like want to clear the raid and get the loot. But that guild in particular, I think is just, they have some of the best players that could obviously go in and then speed run, but like it's a different way of playing the game, and that's pretty much the mentality of playing the game also in private servers. I think is like you're focused like, all right, let's wait for Bloodlust so we can all do as much damage on this boss as possible. It's a fun way of playing. It takes longer in the raid, but it can be really, really cool.
Yeah, well, it's something I've been like with my warrior, and like I chose lock at the start, and I've said it many times on the pod, but not to you, but like it was the worst choice. Like I wish I just would have stuck it through on my warrior, but like lock is so boring on trash. And warrior is so freaking fun. Like I've got all of my trinkets like on like auto queue, and I'm popping everything at every opportunity. You're like casting your different moves at the right times at the right place actually does something for you rather than just seed. Like,
yeah, I have my warlock. I have 2 warlocks, and it was to help the guild when we were doing speedruns more focused with warlocks. And I my entire UI is quite literally Shadow Bolt, other than one seed that looks like Shadow Bolt. I changed it to macro so it looks like Shadow Bolt, but the rest of like basically the entire screen is like 60 different buttons that are all Shadow Bolt.
Yep. It's like I saw that stream and just almost lost my mind because I was like, I mean, if you just throw in, like one seed in there, you got it right. And it also changed too. It was a little bit more fun at the start because you at least used Immolate. But then after you pushed to a certain point, Immolate was like completely worthless and like you just Shadow Bolt spamming and it just became unfun. And I know locks are going to be a lot more fun in Wrath, along with a lot of other classes. Like I feel bad for Ret Paladins because they're all going to get told they're using one button macros, but oh, what are you going to do? Well, Ayle, what have you been doing lately in WoW?
Yeah, I mean, unlike you who switched to meta class for TBC, I've been sticking to Warrior the whole way. Same thing with Wrath,
Yes,
staying Warrior.
Nice.
Had to take that shot.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was that? Sorry?
Way to go, Ayle.
Are you going to stay DPS?
For sure, yeah. So I'm actually tanking right now because we had a tank quit, which is interesting to tank in Sunwell as a warrior. Generally have to like cater fights around to like what I can do because AoE threat is garbage, but it's been fun. And so I've been playing some Wrath beta, doing the solo leveling on the warrior with the Prot Revenge spec. It's been pretty fun. And then besides that, just clearing Sunwell,
Cool. Mel, what about you?
What have I been doing? We raided, and Bob makes me rep farm for this mount that he really wants, which is so exciting, let me tell you. And then we did a little bit of the Wrath beta.
Wait. Did you say what rep?
No.
Oh, it's horrible. It's the Frost Saber Tiger rep in Winter Spring.
Oh my god.
It's horrible, dude. They like upped it from what it was in Classic. Because in Classic, the quests were like 25 rep a piece or something like that. Now you're getting like 250 rep for two of the quests and then 350 rep for the other one. But even as human, like it sucks, dude. You're running the whole map.
It's so redundant and it's so like, God. Luckily, this last time we had people that would group with us. So whenever we were in the same area, we'd get the same, because they're all kill quests, which is nice. If we don't do the gathering one anymore. Once we got the other two quests, that one went bye-bye because that was really annoying.
Yeah, drop rates were bad.
Yeah, but it's just very like you go kill 5 shaman and 5 ursas and you go kill 8 giants and then you go back and then you do it again. And there's always like, you always get stuck at the little furbog camp because there's no shaman and there's a bunch of other things you don't need. So you have to kill those and it's just annoying. But
I've got a ton of Winterfall Firewater though.
Yeah, I was going to say, I remember farming. I used to farm the village so often back in the day. And I know people that got that mount. It's one of my favorite mounts, but that farm had to take so long because in Classic, the village was always farmed out, so you had to get those kills.
Yeah, and like I mean, one person can easily take out the giants down south now, but those guys were a trip early on in Classic. See, we used to farm
too.
We used to farm the Winterfall. What are they? Travelers, the guys for the quest, the 3 of them that would spawn right at the entrance of Winter Spring, and we would just like kill them right there. They would spawn and as long as we didn't have
until an
horde.
Arcane Mage came in and
then
we didn't have any
we couldn't get the tags
because we were a priest and a warrior and we were like, damn it.
But yeah, we got a lot there. But yeah, so for me, what I've been doing, I wish I was playing more beta, but I'm really struggling without the add-ons. Like really struggling. Like it's
Listen, Bob tried to get me to do what was it? What was the dungeon we were trying to do?
We did Ukard Keep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he's like, I think we can take these mobs, just me and you. And I was like, okay, so he goes in and pulls 5 mobs or like 9 mobs, right? At the very beginning. And I was like, listen, Bob, That would probably be fine if I had my add-ons and I didn't have to like look and like see where my keys are bound for these certain heals for you and then click on you. Like I don't have any like mouse over macros or anything set up, and it was just like he insta died.
Yeah, I've always had a pretty minimalistic UI, but no weak auras. I'm definitely feeling the pain.
No questy? Like what is this? How am I supposed to quest without questy? That's just not an option.
Weak auras, like GTFO, like all of those things. But I mean,
no,
like,
I just want my healing. If I had my healing add-on, I could do it.
Yeah,
but I'm very dependent on that. Is very clear to me now.
Like I've learned that like I don't even see stuff on the ground now. That's just like GTFO just tells me to get out of it. I'm like, oh yeah, move, okay. Like I've let myself just not pay attention to that now because GTFO just always takes care of it for me. So
yeah, it makes the most annoying sound in the world that you can't ignore.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
The loudest sound, yeah.
Yeah, you're like, okay, jeez.
I don't play with it, and I always forget. Then I'm watching, like, whenever I'm watching someone stream with it, it always like shocks me almost.
Yeah, I think that's the point, right? It's supposed to have this. Yeah. I play with it, and it still shocks me every time. I'm like, what? What is on the ground? Oh my god!
Yeah, well, we were doing. I was on my warrior, and I had done a quest, and I guess turned my graphics all the way to 1, so I could see the quest stuff on the ground super easy. But I forgot to turn it back up. So we're on council, and GTFO keeps going off. I'm like, there's nothing there. What are you talking about? Then I realized, oh, my graphics are all the way at 1.
It is really annoying, though, that on council, like, the consecrate just, like, pops up in any area. It's not, like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it should be from a person or
like
NPC.
With one of the bosses.
Yeah, but it's not. But yeah, I think.
Are you sure they're not just moving him right after he casts
Yeah, they're
it?
definitely. It spawns from Gathios, the paladin mob. And then also, if your paladin consecrates, you have to kind of watch which one's from who. But if they move
that's
you,
annoying.
it's the worst too.
Yeah, well, I'm a healer, so I look at my raid frames until GTFO yells at me, and then I'm like, "What? There's nobody here." Sometimes I feel like on council, even now, sometimes I feel like I'm just like running around trying to get away from everything at all times. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, why is there should be a spot where I can stand. There's not.
Yeah. That fight looks like it's always like you're just trying to get to a safe spot and then a new blizzard or like a flame strike. And you're just like, what is this?
Like, why? How many things are going to attack me? But I did finally change my raid frames, so I've been wanting to put my raid frames at the bottom of my screen, but it just seemed like a lot of effort and a lot of work to redo all of my UI. So
like
the other week when I was
she's been wanting to have it where generally your moves are like underneath her feet, which we see a lot of really good healers do. And so she's been trying to like switch from,
I mean, it's definitely
having
ideal,
it on the left
but
side of the screen,
Yeah, but when you set everything up, you don't really think about that. And then, you get into a rhythm and then you get lazy and don't want to mess with everything that you already know. But I did it. I was out of town and I was sitting just waiting to see if they needed me. And I was like, all right, I'll do it. And so I did it. And then I realized there's also a lot of other things you have to change when you move your bars down to the bottom of your screen, because all of a sudden, like, my cast bar was like behind my raid frames, and I was like, oh god damn it. So I have to like change that, and then like my weak aura things are coming up like in my raid frames, and I'm trying to like heal through these stupid icons, and I'm like, oh my god. But I think I got it all figured out. We're all good.
Nice.
Do you like it now?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like, I guess I can see in my peripheral vision, I feel like I can see my feet and like more of the screen than I could. Like, I didn't know what was going on as much when they were on the left side. That being said, I still get very tunnel visioned into my raid frames and don't always look around in my environment. So we'll see.
Oh yeah. And then the last thing I've been doing a ton of GDKPs with all of my different characters: the rogue, the lock, the warrior, and I've had luck with like no hit. Jerome always comes in my chat. He's like, I don't see how you do so good on these GTKPs. Mine just fall apart constantly. I was like, I don't know. It's like I just jump in from chat, just get in, and then I'm in one the other day, and we're sitting there asking the guy Discord. It was a ZA GDKP. We're asking the guy, do we want to do Discord over and over again? He's not answering us. And we start. We get to the first boss, and he's like, okay, Discord. We're like, what? We're doing fine. Just go. And he's like, no, Discord. He sends us the wrong Discord 2 times.
Oh my
then he
God.
finally says the right one, but everybody gives up and just like doesn't jump into it. And then he's like spending all this time like auctioning off the loot like as we go. And it was absolutely horrible. We're wiping at different things. I can't believe we actually got the 3rd chest, but it was like a 2 hour and 20-minute ZA. And I did get Berserker's Call on my warrior, which was really good. But God, I like paid 3K for it. And then he starts to do the payouts and he gives me 300 gold. I'm like, dude. That's just what I paid for my item. Like, you know, and like you've run this so bad. Are you really going to take an admin fee? Like, I mean, I'm just like, there was a good 6K spent in the raid. Like, there's no way his fee is all of that. I was just like, all right, dude, I'm out. Ignored that guy to make sure I don't get in any more of those. But yeah, so I had my first like really bad GDKP. So that's all. That's all.
Still
I've been
never
doing.
done one.
They're really fun, but I think the ZA ones are a trap because it's like someone used to send the meme like quick adventure in and out. ZA could always the GDKPs. You're like in there for 2-3 hours. You're like, what is going on? And then you can have like a really good one. Like we had yesterday, even I had a GDKP that was on pace to end Sunwell in 47 minutes, which would have been like 3rd fastest on the server. It would have been faster than my guild run right now, but we ended up wiping like near the end. But like some of them are really fast, and I think that was what we finished was I think it was the world's fastest GDKP. But like my guild leaders also had like a 9-hour Sunwell.
Dude, our guild leader did a GDKP BT the other day, and God, it was like 5 hours. I forget exactly how long it was, but it was like the entire night. But luckily he streamed it, and a lot of people enjoyed watching the pain of it. So, you know, you got something out of it.
Content.
I feel like when it goes that long, it just gets worse as you go too, right? Because people start leaving and like, oh, but you can't leave. If you leave, you don't get the payout. Is that a thing? Yeah,
you're stuck. You have like sunk cost fallacy or whatever.
This GDKP, I really thought about leaving because before we did the
300 gold
boss,
probably wasn't worth it. Let's be honest.
Well, okay. So before we did the second to last boss, he goes, "Hey, I need to run grab repair bot." He didn't speak good English, right? He was like, "I need to run grab repair bot." The dude goes. He's gone for 10 minutes. Comes back. I'm like, "Okay, drop the bot or hand it to me and I'll drop it." He was like, I repaired." We're like, okay, well, all 9 other people here have died just as many times as you have. You didn't grab a bot? Like, we summoned you back.
Oh, my God.
And it's just
you should have said everybody go repair.
I was just like, what is happening right now? So I ended the raid at like 26%. Like, if we didn't beat that last boss that final time, I was probably just about to be like, all right, guys, I can't do it. I'm out. But I stuck it through, got Berserker's Call for 3K, which was actually pretty cheap. So all in all, it worked out. But man, all right. So raid progression. So for us, I'll just be quick. Like we were able to do another one night clear. It was really weird because we one-shot everything, right? We one-shot. Yeah, I know. We one-shot the first boss. We one-shot the third boss. We one-shot twins, and we one-shot Muru. But freaking Brutalis, for some reason, we were having all these problems, and it turned out. So we had this one healer that was supposed to heal the burn targets, and like after a few wipes, they're like, "Hey, can you talk in raid? Let us know you're here." And he's jumping around, right? and then they like start typing in chat. They're like, "Dude, like, did you not hear the raid leader?" And he's like, "Oh, my music was way loud." So it turned out he just hadn't been healing the burn targets, and we were just losing burn targets the entire time.
Well, the boss was positioned a little bit differently too, and so people that went to the burn zone were still taking whatever that other damage is that you can't take while you're burned.
Meteor slash.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so it was just a hot mess. And usually we don't have trouble with Brutalis, and I feel like that's like every week there's a different boss that gives us trouble that shouldn't give us trouble, right? Like there's always somebody. Like the other week it was Felmist. We were like, what are we doing? Why can't we figure this out, guys? We've done this multiple times. Easy pie. Like, what are we doing?
Well, then we've got two glaive rogues. We've got Casimo, which was Chilbra. You know him. And then we've got IDD, and on the first boss, the funniest thing ever, Casimo goes, "Dude, so I saved all my cooldowns for when I went down to the demon to the second floor this time, and it seemed to work out really well." And we're like, "Have you not been doing that the entire time?" And he's like,
God.
No, man, Parson." And we're like, "Dude, what are you doing?" He's like, "Well, I don't know. I just wanted to have the best parts." And we're like, "That's why the top boss was always dying so fast."
Oh my God.
It was so funny. But yeah, we went through. KJ was like, can't remember how we had like, I don't know, what was it? 5 wipes, maybe 4 wipes, but like 2 of the wipes was like literally at the last stage. We're all grouped up, and a freaking a meteor hits all of us and just wipes the raid 2 times in a row, transitioning into the final stage. But we got it down.
I also think part of our biggest problem on KJ this week was that, I don't know, 75% of the time we pulled the first couple ads, everybody just like took insane amount of damage. And then all of a sudden, like, one person dies. So we're down one person from the beginning, or we battle res them, and then we don't have that for somebody else. Like, I don't know what it is. I think they were trying to work it out with like the rogues interrupting and then the bombs that they were using. Like, I don't know what it is, but at least 50% of the time, I have to mass circle of healing both melee groups. And
I'm hoping that like we can switch to, you know, the strat that, you know, Sarthe brought to light, you know, a couple weeks ago, where we all stack. I would like to do that. Our guild leader just wanted us to learn it the proper way before we tried that like the first 2 attempts, but then never tried it again. So I'd like to do that, because that seems like it could be like just monster.
It's so good. It's like you get between the phase of 85 to 55 so fast, and it's really easy. The only fear is if people are slow with like moving when Fire Bloom, but if you spread out like kind of where some people are on the left and some people are on the right, it shouldn't be bad at all. And like with that strategy, even people are now like the fastest kills, they're not even getting one of those like darkness phases. Literally everyone's staying stacked up basically the entire time, and they're doing so much damage that they're phasing the boss before he can even do a darkness or whatever the giant like explosion is.
Yeah, it's just because like the way we do it, like, just, you know, if I get lucky, I can run in and grab the buff as a lock, but I'm like way out, so that's losing cast time running in, running back out, you know, like even to get the buff. But to get the, like, getting the buff is huge. So if you just everybody has the buff, like he's gonna go down so much faster. So I'm hoping we get to try that soon. I'm thinking we'll try it like when we have a really good run where we get there, in like under 2 hours, and we're there and we have some time to like try it out. But we'll see. Ayle, you guys lost Melderon and Def Camp, and you guys are still pushing on. How did your
Def
raid
Camp's
go
still
this week?
there, isn't he?
I thought Def Camp stepped down.
Yeah, I think he's taking a break. He didn't come over to the new guild, so yeah, we're plugging along. Went 6-6 this week. Struggled a little bit last week with some attendance issues, but yeah, managed to do the full thing. We're still struggling a bit with inconsistency in our raid, so we're trying to work on that a bit and maybe get some new recruits in and work on that.
All right, so our two guilds are pretty similar, but Sarthe, you're in a whole different world. So why don't you tell us how your raid progression, or should I say speed run progression, like went this week?
Mine is in a little bit of a frustrating situation, as most people in the speedrun community know. We haven't put up a good time in a little while, and tracking, apparently we were on pace this week to get world 3rd is what people were saying. I think we would have been a little slower. I think we would have ended at like 38, 39 minutes. But we've had a lot of issues where our healers forget to heal on twins and our speed run will end there, or we'll wipe on Muru. We're trying to one phase Muru, and this week one of our healers is supposed to be a boomkin. He's boomkin spec, so he heals every now and then, but on like that fight he's supposed to just be in boomkin and DPSing, so our warlocks also have crit buff. And then one of our warriors, I feel bad saying this like on the podcast, but he just decided to swap off of the boss and DPS purely the ads. And we were 1% away from phasing Muru before there was another like humanoid spawn. So we almost had it. And at least we killed twins this week, which was nice. We were able to, I was like able to do like 4,000 DPS on twins because we didn't die. And we did do test runs this week for the first time. And like in one of the test runs, because it's on NA servers and I have low ping, I literally did 4.8k DPS on twins. And I was like, there's only one person in the world that's done more. And he had 3 less and we only used 2. So it looked good. It looked promising. We were going in with really good hopes. But right now we seem to every week someone messes something up that wipes the raid basically right now.
Okay, so I don't know if you've dealt with this, but twins is broken for us. We have had so many wipes where it grabs either the number 1 tank or the second tank for is it immolate? Is it
conflagration?
Conflag. Yeah.
We have now we have everybody for the most part wear a PvP trinket, but especially the tanks.
We do that too.
Because if your tanks get conflag and then he confounding blows or like does the disorient on the main tank, someone's gonna die, right? So we have it, and I guess you guys do too, right? I'm not sure if it's a bug or if it's a scripting where he doesn't actually choose, like it's a random choice within the top 5 or 4. I'm not sure if it's exactly figured out. I'm sure it is, but I've seen him choose people that are like not even on the meter before, and it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and we got to a thing where, so the tanks were getting that, and for weeks they were running out. We decided just this last week, okay, tank stays in, everybody else runs out. He pops trinket, and then they come back in. Like,
yeah, if it's the main tank, you can't, like, he can't really run away. Like the boss follows, right?
Yeah.
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 That's probably why it didn't work.
Well,
let's be honest.
But like even the off tank, it's just like just melee, just get out of there for a second, and then come back. And then we've gotten lucky a few times where it'll start coming up after a warlock, and you know who you are. It's not me, but it comes after a certain warlock every time. and then they're able to get it back before it gets all the way up the ramp. So it's definitely caused us problems, but we've had good luck with it the past couple weeks, like for the most part. But yeah.
What's your healer problem on twins? What kind of?
Oh my! They literally just forget to heal. I don't know. I've been in the talks with the healing officers. We did some reorganization of the guild. There was a healer in particular that just decided to ignore his assignments every time, and so then like one tank or something would die, like the fire tank would die or something, and it would just like then everything falls apart because he was like DPSing during the entire first phase, and you were like, what? Now we're all behind and trying to catch up.
Oh god.
We just like with basically Sunwell was the first time that leadership and Harskar, our GM, is in chat. It's the first time they actually had to be like, okay, we're gonna do healing assignments, like because like it's really important. And yeah, like what I was talking about with Brutalis earlier on, you know, that's the whole reason we were wiping right there. Like one of the main reasons was that he didn't know his assignment.
Healers?
It was healer. It was healer. I'm not calling. I'm not calling names. We don't do that here. But you know, it was for sure like not following the assignments. You know, but I mean, everybody's you know guilty of doing stuff like that at times, right?
Listen, my assignment is a circle of healing a lot of people a lot of the time, and that's what I do.
Last week we were doing Fell Mist, and last week we had that same healer in that was supposed to obviously like mass dispel, right? And then single target dispel right afterwards. And I died to 3 ticks of the dot twice. I got battle res and then also died again to 3 ticks of the dot.
Oh god.
It was if just one healer doesn't do that assignment, it's such an important role for them to have their specific jobs. And if that one person isn't doing it, like every healer takes the blame.
Oh yeah, it's definitely true. And I think on Felmis specifically, I feel like when the dispels aren't like really good, the like whole mentality of the raid just goes like tanks, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we can't do anything if we don't get these dispels. What's happening? Why are we not dispelling? And I've become very good at dispelling quickly.
Yeah, all in all, Sunwell's been a pleasant, fun, awesome experience. I don't know. Like BT and Hydra were fun, but they were just, you know, it was easy. Like SSC, TK was great for the 3 bosses that put up a challenge, you know, like, but yeah, that's why
what do you think in Hydra
Wrath's going to be cool.
Because we struggled in Hydra and had to do very specific assignments for healers and for other things, but not Hydra, sorry, for Sunwell.
Okay.
Yeah,
I hated Hydra.
We don't talk about Hydra.
Yeah, I don't know why I brought that up. But what is the difference in speed rating? Like how much specific assignments do you give to healers, DPS, everybody else?
Every single thing is scripted and assigned. I literally have mapped out every single pull for the sense of every pull where what the tanks do, who kicks or interrupts what with things like magic dust, what CDs can be used on what pulls, when bloodlust will be used and for which like groups and who it's going to be swapped out for. And then like some bosses like Brutalis or even Felmis, when he's doing the corrosion on the tank, we rotate like a tank trinket as well as a priest PI. And once you get down to 5 healers, it's like very specific. They have to do their specific job. And if they don't, and they try to like cover for someone else, then someone's going to die. So everything is extremely scripted for speedrun guilds. And some like Progress, who has the world record right now, is even better at it, where they have like little mini assignments for everything as well that I think are just like phenomenal. But it's really scripted. I have it all written out. We have like 4 tabs in a spreadsheet where I've literally gone over like in which sections, like where you equip your rocket boots, where and who equips which like resistance neck, and if you pre-pop the neck or if someone else has the neck on like during the fight. Every single thing throughout the entire raid is fully scripted, actually.
Which, I mean, you kind of have to have, right? Because like there's no talking, like there's talking, like calling stuff out, but there's no like, okay, I need you to do this, I need you to do this, I need you to do this. So somebody forgetting their assignments might be they didn't study the sheet good enough up to that point or something. So it could even be worse.
Yeah, it was the same in Onslaught as well. Even down to individual potion and trinket usages throughout the entire raid. We determine which to use where. So that's something every like 2 or 3 minutes you'd have something to do, and we'd often go through run sometimes mentally just as a group with like saying like what you're going to do. Like, have you seen the movie Cool Runnings?
Yes, the best movie ever.
They're all in the bathtub and they're visualizing the run, and they're like, turn 4 right, and everybody goes right. We kind of go through the same thing sometimes, where we just like call out certain situations and what people were doing, and just kind of visualizing how we were going to.
I could just see Ayle like sitting in front of his computer, being like calling out something, and people like running to a certain direction, and then
it was never me. It was never me. No, I was never in leadership or anything. But yeah,
I can just see Ayle, Coach. My helmet doesn't fit. Thanks, Coach. Oh, dude, I love that movie. That's a great movie.
Ayle, you dead, man?
I'm dead, man.
Got the bobsled team. Okay, sorry. Yeah, so that's crazy, but that would be something you'd have to have that on a second screen, or have really studied what your role is like, and it'd be a lot easier to miss calls, because like in our guild, usually those changes are called out prior to the boss. So like, and I don't know if other people do this, but I like sit there and go, like if I'm on Muru and I'm on Rec that week, I'm like, all right, don't forget Rec 2 minutes Muru, Rec 2 minutes Muru, Rec. I'm reciting stuff before the boss. So like you'd have to go through the whole thing doing that like prior, which at least I would. I guess different people like train themselves differently, but it's neat.
I think most speedrun guilds also, they'd run PTR generally. We just started, but like, so then you've done the raid multiple times where you have that exact assignment. And then before the raid, we'll do like and I think almost everyone we'll do like in Discord call where we'll go over the whole sheet and every pull. And then so like during the raid, there's really quick assignments. Like during the raid itself, I can just call out like Q rocket boots, Q first next, Q second next, second less, or something like that. Like all of that can be called out really fast, and I can call all of the misdirects and stuff like that. So it works out really, really well once everybody knows their job, and we have like a sheet for like Brutalis placement, exactly where you are going to be standing for Brutalis, and like Brutalis every week we just change the picture to like a different person in the actual raid, and we try to figure out who it is and like play a game of like, who is that, because one officer actually just grabs pictures and like finds them off Facebook or something. It's so fun.
God,
wow,
that's hilarious. So do you guys, how frequently do you switch up your assignments or your strats?
I would say it does evolve quickly as you kind of like theory craft different strats, or if someone like a new world record comes out and they try a strat that like hasn't been thought of. I personally love speedruns, and I cover pretty much all of the top ones. So if like Progress is really good, Progress is the #1 guild right now, and this other guild, Noobs, this Chinese guild, are really, really good at innovation. And so whenever they like pull off a crazy strategy, I'm like, we're gonna try that, and sometimes it's like I do a lot of theory crafting myself, and a lot of times it'll be like this strategy that's first time it's been seen like publicly on a wide scale, but like I have been like trying to convince like some people that it's worth it to try that, and like getting a little fight back sometimes where it's like, hey, I don't know if we're going to do that. Like right now to start the raid, it's kind of lame, but you literally have to pull the first pack and then feign death or die, and they'll pre-summon those little imps. So you are already actually like enslave those imps, and it's 2,500-ish DPS for the first section for having those imps for the whole raid. It's like a lot of damage.
Wait,
like
hold
that
on.
Strategy.
Wait.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what our Destro locks could do, like right now, like.
It is not worth it if you're not speedrunning.
Okay.
It's super annoying to do. It's super annoying to do.
I feel like Carscar's gonna listen to this and be like, "Oh God, please don't tell them to do that. Please don't tell them to do that."
No.
Yeah, I mean, when we pull out the infernals and stuff, they're like, "Okay, make sure you keep those, under check."
Yeah.
I still haven't done an infernal on Brutalis just because I don't know that we'll hit the timer, and I don't want to cause a wipe because he like goes rogue,
It barely hurts. You can like death coil. I would always Infernal Brutalis. It's just an easy, they do like, I don't know, like 80k damage or something. That number might be wrong because I don't pay attention when I play my Warlock, but it is a significant amount.
Yeah. I remember using it to get all the different 99 parses in Hyjal, and I was like, okay, this week I can do it here. This week I can do it here.
Yeah.
There he goes, Ayle with Hyjal again. See?
We don't talk about Hyjal.
We got to forget that place.
All right, well, let's move into the news. Time for the news. So we've got some other like Blizzard news, but I'm going to skip over it for this week because we are on time constraints, and I'm just going to kind of like hone in on a couple stories that we actually need to talk about. And one of them is BlizzCon is committed to bringing back Blizzard is committed to bringing back BlizzCon in 2023 in Anaheim, California. Who else is excited about this? Because I am.
I've never been to BlizzCon, so I really want to go.
Holy shit. Okay, dude. It's literally it for 3 years, 2017, 18, 19. It was it was Melani's like actual yearly vacation. Like it was the thing. And like the first year, you get to meet other content creators, and then each year you keep kind of upgrading. You're getting invited to different parties, and it's fucking awesome, dude. Like it is like the coolest thing, and all the panels and stuff that happened. Everybody that goes usually just checks those out, on the actual pass later because you're doing so much. You're just getting to network with so many people, and you're getting to meet all these different people.
Listen, I had a force to go to like the voice actor panels because those are the best. The Overwatch ones, the voice actor Overwatch ones.
Oh my god, I used to watch this because I actually didn't even know that you guys were so big in Overwatch before, which is phenomenal to me. I used to watch those every year. Like I literally built this computer that I'm playing on with no intentions to play WoW again. It was to play Overwatch.
Yeah, that was us too. We were very into Overwatch, and we were into the Overwatch League, and and it was a lot of fun. But I feel like BlizzCon was definitely, at least for us, more about socializing and enjoying seeing people in person and meeting people. But the voice actor Overwatch panel, every time.
Yeah, especially like when we were doing the Overwatch League recap, like getting to know the players was really big because that's how you could get a bunch of interviews and different, things, like guests and stuff, and like getting to know the casters, and then dude, BlizzCon is just like, it's so much fun. Like we're actually going to TwitchCon this year just because we're like, we want something. Like we'll see probably a lot of the people we see there, but I don't think it's gonna hold a candle to BlizzCon. BlizzCon is amazing, and I'm sorry you haven't gotten to go. Oh my god, Ayle, have you been?
Yeah, I've been quite a few times actually. I think maybe 3 times. Most recently was the last one they had right before the pandemic, which was great. Got to meet Josh and a bunch of other people, and then before that, I went back in 2010, 2011.
Yeah,
You were too cool for us, apparently, Ayle.
What's crazy is so like I wasn't doing the podcast on the 2019 one, but I was super into Classic WoW. I thought I wouldn't be into it at all. Well, I thought I would get to like level 40 and get a mount and be like, oh, this was a great, memory lane. But little did I know, like, I was upset because I had just got a 2-hander and I wanted to do BGs. Like, this was when Molten Core was out, and I was like, oh, shit, we're going to be gone for like 6 days. I'm not going to get to try out that new, what's that stupid sword from... It drops from a few different people, but it's in Molten Core.
Obsidian Edge Blade.
Yes, I got the Obsidian Edge Blade. I was like, I want to go PvP. And so I was thinking about that the whole time we were gone.
Yeah, so we're there with press passes for Overwatch, right? And Bob, the whole time we're in the press room, is like, hey, that's so-and-so from WoW Classic. And I'm like, we are not here for WoW, Bob. We are here for Overwatch. And he's just like nerding out over here.
Yeah, I like walked up to Tips Out, and I think he was like a little like, I was like, dude, so I do content on Overwatch, but like I love freaking Classic WoW. I'm like freaking out about it. And I got to meet him, and then I got to meet Stay Safe, and I got to meet like a bunch of different ones, and they were all doing the Classic panel at Con Before the Storm. And I had done the Overwatch panel for the 2 years prior to that, but Mel was on the Overwatch panel this time around, and that's where I ran into Stay Safe. And yeah, like I didn't know a ton of the Classic creators at that point. It bums me out because I could have met Ayle, Melderon, Def Camp, Josh, like all, like it would have been so cool. But yeah, BlizzCon's awesome, dude. That's basically where we're at.
It was the last year that we went, so we got this hotel, and it was like right outside of the convention. Like the
last year the last year we went, we were at the Marriott. It was the year that I talked right. What's his name into oh my gosh, I'm blanking on his name. Overwatch League player, healer, not last year but the year before, played for Atlanta.
It's relevant.
Oh, okay, but
Dogman?
Yeah. I got Dogman to go wake up another Overwatch podcaster in our room in a Murloc onesie. He's like waking him up, and he goes, "Is that Dogman? Are you in my room?" And he's like, "Yeah." I don't know, dude. Crazy stuff happens. It's a really fun time.
That's great.
Yeah, but no, we got this hotel the year before, and we had 2 of our other Overwatch buddies that came with us. And one was traveling from Japan.
If you were into Overwatch, you probably heard of the Omnic Lab podcast. They were the 2 guys that did the Omnic Lab podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but epic. They were staying with us, and I got this hotel room, and it was like last minute. I was like, hey guys, we could actually get this hotel room, which has 2 bedrooms, and it's just going to be cheaper. And they're like, yeah, let's do it. And I was like, okay. And we get there, and Bob and I have like the first bedroom, right? And then these 2 guys, we walk into the second bedroom, and there's bunk beds. And I was like, God. Oh, that's so cute. Children, you can have the bunk beds. Who wants the top bunk?
And so like the main bedroom with the big bed was in like as you walked in the door, and then the bunk bedroom was in the back. And you're thinking this is weird, right? But it's Anaheim. It's right next to Los Angeles Disneyland. So ton of people coming with kids there. So you wouldn't want your kids to be able to sneak out or anything. You'd want to be able to watch them. So it makes complete sense when you think about it in that context. But when we got in the room, we were like, what is this?
I thought it was great.
All right. Well, we've went on a tangent. They're gonna bring it back. Ayle, you have any fun stories for BlizzCon before we move on?
I mean, there's one pretty fun one.
Oh, good.
We're at a party, and it was me and Def Camp and Melderon. I actually have a couple, which is, and this one, they had free unlimited drinks, and it was for the people who had press
so
passes to the
dangerous.
original one. It is, and I go into the bathroom.
Wait. Was it the one where you had free drinks and then at some point it turned into to just Jack and Coke?
No, that was Overwatch specific.
I don't think it was Overwatch
different.
specific because there was a ton of of WoW retail people there. It was at a bar that was right above a bowling alley.
I don't remember if it was above a bowling alley.
Was it sponsored by Coke?
I'm pretty sure I conned my way into that party.
Was there a bunch of like Blizzard artwork on the walls and stuff?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Was there?
Because they totally like decorated the entire bar restaurant. Might have been that one.
Yeah, it was the Blizzard party, and the Overwatch players, like AKM was pissed because he's like, I can't get in, and I'm a player. Like only Jake and Siegel got into the party out of all of the Overwatch League players. I think it was probably the same party, but sorry.
Yeah, it was press or whatever, right? So I was in there, but like S-Fan was there, and Meldron knows S-Fan, and like we're in the bathroom, and like he comes in, and Meldron's like, "Oh, hey man, how's it going?" Like, and they're having a chat, and he's like, "Oh, this is my buddy," and I made a complete ass out of myself. I was like, "Oh, hey, I killed you like a whole bunch in the beta." And because I kind of was going around ganking him as much as I could, and he was just like, he just didn't know what to say, and like I was just like, oh, this is like awkward bathroom conversation, right? It's pretty funny.
Yeah,
and then
both like peeing like right next to each other, and he's like, all right.
Pretty much, right?
So wait, were you the guy that like there was like 8 urinals? And he's on the far left one, and you went on the one right next to him instead of going to the one all the way on the other side?
Yeah, and then I'm like, yeah, so I killed you a bunch in the beta. Yeah, it went over like a ton of bricks, yeah. And then the other one actually was Mr. GM was there, and I went up to him, and I said, hey.
Also in the bathroom?
No, this was outside. Okay. And I said, like, hey, like, really love your content. And I called him Mad Season, and he got really pissed.
Oh my
but like
God.
I was super drunk, and that's what I blame it on. And then like after that, like Meldron knows him as well from somewhere, and they were talking, and he like because I was hanging out with Meldron, I would come up, he would like turn his back to me. He was like pissed. It was hilarious.
That's hilarious.
It's funny, yeah. So
I remember one.
I mean, he should have taken it as a compliment, Like.
One time I was really drunk, and this was like a couple years before WoW Classic even came out, and we were outside of a bar, and this guy was out there, and Bobby asked him something like, do you do esports? And he said, yeah, I am a professional WoW PvP player or something. And I was like, why?
Yeah.
I was like, why don't you do something hard like Overwatch? Why would you do WoW PvP? Oh my God, he was so mad at me.
Okay, and now, like I can't think of his name. I mean, you guys know him. He's one of the most famous. It's like a Pokemon spin-off name.
Pikachu, or sorry, Peekaboo.
Yes, yeah. It turned out to be Peekaboo. Like we saw him like years later when we got back into WoW Classic, and we're like, hey, it's your buddy. All right, okay.
I have one more really good story.
All right, go.
And that's it was from when I was at the first two back in the day. I actually bumped into Grubby in an elevator, and I said hello to him. He's the the legendary Orc RTS player, right? Warcraft 3. And I bumped into him and said hello. I think he was in the finals the next day or whatever. I wished him luck. He asked me my name, which I told him. And then he wished me a good time as well or whatever. And I thought that was interesting. The following year, I bump into him. He remembered my name again.
What?
Yeah, dead serious. That guy is like sharp as a tack. So smart. incredible
Listen,
memory.
somebody will tell me their name and I will tell them my name in return. And by the time I tell them my name in return, I've forgotten what their name
Hell
was.
yeah.
I'm like,
I know.
"Oh."
Every time.
It must be something he does, or it's just like, to me, I'm like, this guy is like definitely next level, because
Yeah.
I literally met him
impressive.
once in an elevator. He asked me my name, I told him, and then fucking remembered it next year. And I was just like, that's incredible. This guy's a legend.
Wow. Maybe
yeah.
he was just so impressed by your beauty. Maybe that's why he remembered your name. And that's why you're so
Unlikely.
scared to turn
Beauty.
on your camera.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to scare off our
That
viewers.
or he needed a name for a restraining order or something, maybe. I don't know.
We have a ton of great stories, and unfortunately, lots of them we can't even tell on this podcast. They are just like, they're going to be quiet for forever, just because, you know, it's the rule. But yeah,
Stays at Blizz. What happens at BlizzCon stays at BlizzCon sometimes.
yep. Mel had to get someone very important home one night, and
Oh my God.
they almost
You
puked
guys.
in an Uber.
No, I
No
call
names,
an
of course.
Uber. I'm not saying names, but I call an Uber because this guy
Oh,
was
God,
like,
let's keep
you
this
could tell like
tangent
he was
going.
like swaying, you know, and I was like, hey, you need to get back to the hotel. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, okay. So I call an Uber. His freaking Tesla pulls up. And I'm like, I call the freaking economy Uber. What are we doing here, right? And we're sitting in the backseat of this Uber going back to the hotel, which is like 10 minutes, maybe. No, it was probably like a 6-minute drive. And I'm sitting next to him and he's sitting in the car and he's like rocking.
Yeah, because me, Blevins, AKM, and AKM's friend all just walked, like, and just let you take the
Yeah,
Uber.
I played
It was
mom
super
and
close.
took the other person home.
Don't say the name.
But he's sitting there in the car and he's like rocking, and then he's like, and I was like, what are you doing? I was like, do we need to pull over? And he's like, no, I'm good. I'm like, are you good? Because we're in a Tesla and I don't really want to pay to get this cleaned up. Like, what's happening? And then, so finally, we like get probably like 3 blocks from the hotel, and he's like, hey man, could you drop me off here? And the guy's like, hey, yeah, man, it's like right down here. We're almost there. And I was like, will you stop the car? Like, I need you to stop the car. We are getting out of the car. And we get out. He throws up. We walk back to the hotel, and he starts to walk towards the bar. And I'm like, get your butt in that elevator. We're going upstairs. You are going to bed. No, you almost just threw up in a Tesla. We are done.
He's like, yeah, it's probably a good idea.
God.
Oh, man. Yeah, so please bring back BlizzCon. We will love it. Next, I didn't actually think that was going to go on that long, but it was actually fun. So the next thing, Silver actually mentioned this last episode that she thought possibly season of Mastery characters would be able to transfer to Wrath Classic servers. I don't really see a problem with this, but does anybody else see a problem with this? I know people are kind of upset about mounts and stuff, but like it's almost harder to get the mount in Season of Mastery, to be honest. Like the AQ mount and stuff like that. Like it's almost everything's almost harder.
Yeah, I've seen like Reddit threads where people are complaining about like someone can go get the Scareblord mount. If you've done that farm, I have that mount. That farm sucks. That farm is terrible. First of all, if you're going to go to a server that doesn't have the gates open, that means you need to be farming like 400 or 120,000 copper and like, you know, stuff like that. So like
in Season of Mastery, they did do the thing where they like added stuff each week to the gates. So they did help them open the gates. Kind of like they did for the smaller servers. I don't know exactly. Duranosaur was on next week. He would know better, but there was ones that took like 6 to 7 weeks before they even like opened. But they did give them incremental like stuff. So they did do that. But I mean, just the quest in general is like absurd and long.
Yeah, I think if someone's going to put in the effort to do that, one, you absolutely need a full raid team to do the BWL and MC parts. And two, like even from there's some pieces outside of the literal days with multiple different like 5-man squads of farming these bugs. 42,000 carapaces, by the way. It's it takes a long time, like full days or weeks of people farming those bugs. Then it's going to be like, sometimes there's the green dragons, you need to get 3 different or 4 maybe different shards. The Azshara shard took me 23 hours of killing dragons on repeat. 23 hours of killing them on spawn, shifting layers, killing them on spawn, shifting layers, and back and forth. So if someone wants to go get that mount, I'm like, dude, get the mount, man.
Well, and for what Duranosaur says, like the servers are getting like 2 or 3 mounts per server. There's not a bunch of servers. Like, so, I mean, on Whitemane alone, just on the Alliance side, we had like, I think over 20.
Yeah, Whitemane had one of the biggest amounts of mounts, I think.
Yeah, because
Grob had like 50, didn't they?
Well, because Risen screwed us. Like, they said that they were going to complete it, and then they like waited an extra 2 weeks to get more mounts. So then it was the Chinese guilds that actually did it for the Alliance side, which was a crazy time.
Everyone, like, there was rumors that everyone was like, Risen already has all of the mats for the Alliance side ready to turn in by themselves.
And that's what we thought, you know, and we're like, okay, cool. So we don't have to do shit.
I was glad that happened because my guild literally disbanded the Friday night before the Thursday release of that phase. And so like I had to like wrangle friends to still do the mount farm. And we like moved like 6 of us to a friend's house, 5 of us to Cujo's house. He was in the chat earlier. And we literally all did a LAN party for a week straight, and just did not sleep to get that.
That sounds fun as hell, dude. It sounds fun as hell.
So much fun.
Oh man, that sounds like a blast. So wait, you live in LA?
Yeah.
And you never went to BlizzCon?
I never went to BlizzCon. Well, growing up, I was very like, I played WoW forever, and I've literally played forever, like all the way through, and competitively in the PvE scene. I used to do PvP back in the day. But it just like, it was always, I couldn't really, if I went, I would just go by myself or some friends, I guess. But I was more focused on sports growing up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Fish. I would go now. I would love to go now.
It makes have a blast.
It's not cheap either. Like the tickets are pretty pricey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
not if you get press. If you get press, tickets free.
Yeah, just a tip to anybody. I know it seems pricey to stay at the Hilton or the Marriott, but if you like to drink alcohol, you will save a ton of cash if you stay at one of those hotels, because you can go up to your room and refill rather than spending $12 per drink. So just like keep that in mind. Like it definitely is definitely actually saves you money to stay at the hotel that's closest.
Pro tip.
And
or
if
find
you're
a
freshman
in the hotel.
Hilton is definitely the freshman bar. Marriott's definitely the one you want to go to. Hilton's cooler, but like cooler as far as amenities and everything else. But the Marriott's probably your better bet. And in later
it's a little
years,
more chill.
Sheridan.
There's a lot of like bumping and grinding going on over at the Hilton.
Oh, yeah, the Hilton's
There's a lot of like drinking and talking going on over at the Marriott. So choose your poison, you know?
All right, Ayle, do you have any problems with this? With the Season of Mastery characters coming
I think it's fine. The people who are complaining I don't think they have any merit, because doing the bug farm, I mean, it still takes the time. The server gates opening on their own has nothing to do with getting them out. So, I mean, I guess it allows more people to farm it, but yeah. I mean, if you're going to complain about that, like...
Yeah, I don't see a problem with it either, and it's crazy.
We get more players in, should be fun.
Yeah. All right, and then the last thing is just the Wrath beta update. The Barbershop is fixed, although I saw a video from Scotty J saying it wasn't completely fixed. Like druids aren't actually changing their I guess skin color and hair color is supposed to change your cat and bear models, but I guess it's not doing that at the moment. So, but I mean, and they fixed a lot of bugs. They did. What was the one thing I needed to mention? They did rename Hysteria. Is it Hysteria?
Yeah, they did to Unholy Frenzy.
Yep. So I guess they're trying to be PC. I guess it's like, I guess hysteria is actually a really scary disorder that they didn't want to have in their game. So they just made up a fantasy name, which I'm fine with. I don't really care. But I guess like if you were hearing about hysteria and jumping into the beta and might be confused by not being able to find it, it's now called Unholy Frenzy. And that's it for the news. Let's move into
Bobby, we need to have a talk about this World of Warcraft Classic. Do I look like I know what a WoW token is?
All right. In this week's discussion, you're laughing.
That's so good.
I've been okay, so like I used to just like plug these in, and then I got to go XLR and a Stream Deck and all that. So now I can like do them live, but it messes me up every time because I laugh every time. So
did you cameo that? That was so good too.
So that was a guildie in our guild named Bradshaw, who used to just always say stuff in Hank's voice.
Paladin Bradshaw.
Bradshaw, he was a warrior.
Oh, okay.
He was actually in Pint. He was one of the people that helped Pint do his revenge.
Yeah.
But so like basically like early on we did a podcast where I didn't know what the WoW token was. They tried to explain it to me and I was just smooth brain. We had someone write in like a bad review talking about how they wanted to shoot themselves with like how I didn't get what the WoW token was. And so we just threw that in when we made the bumper.
Let's be honest.
Okay, but this week's discussion is like, whenever we have someone new on the show, we want to get to know them because you know what? We all have a bunch of content creators, but we don't know where they came from. We don't know what their background is. And I think it's cool. It's what we do on this show. So we're going to interview Sarthe. Sarthe, tell us about your WoW background. When did you start playing WoW originally, retail?
Original WoW, I played the very first version, like the vanilla, and I didn't have a computer. My older brother had a computer, so I would commandeer his room like for nights on end.
Okay, what did you have to give him? Because in this situation, you were my little brother. And I would actually make him do chores and different things to get computer time to play. And I know I feel like a jerk, but did you have to do anything like that?
No, I feel like I should have. I took it for granted. I have thanked him like in our adult life, but back then, like it didn't even faze me. I was like, I'm gonna play, so I need your room.
Nice.
How much older?
He's 4 years older. So I have two brothers, and we're all 2 years apart. And he's 4 years older, and I'm really surprised actually thinking back on it now that like I legitimately eventually he even gave me the computer. Like he built the computer himself, and eventually he's just like, just take this.
Yeah, see, take
it to your room.
I was 7 years older, and it wasn't actually WoW that I'd make him do this stuff for me. It was Ultima Online. That was the first MMO I played when I was still at my parents' house. And yeah, I used to be like, all right, Matt, you can do this, you're going to have to do this for me tomorrow. So quid pro quo. I was like, I'm trying to help teach you life lessons.
Yeah. I didn't get any of that. I was reckless. It's like, I'm teaching you how to like skip out on soccer practice and play World of Warcraft.
Oh man, did he play WoW too, or just you?
He got to like level 30 on a warlock, and I realistically I was so bad in vanilla. I never entered one raid all of vanilla, not once. So like in classic, that was my first time entering all of those original raids. And like it took me like 21 days playtime to get to level 60 on my first character. It's like the slowest you could level in history.
Well, I
That's just the way it was.
Yeah, dude, we just didn't know. I mean, I was like, my first mage, I was like using a sword that had agi on it because I wanted to be a battle mage, you know, like we had no clue. We had no clue what was actually going on, you know, like, so, but yeah, so you took over your brother's computer.
Mm-hmm.
How long did you play for?
I played until, I'm not sure. I played until college, so I'm not sure. I stopped like, I didn't get to play Legion. I know that. So I like in Burning Crusade, I got server first, Illidan kill, and then I didn't do Sunwell. And wow. that was technically, I was playing a Monka TOS, a friend's character, because I was mostly PvPing back in Burning Crusade. So I had Glads back in BC.
That was what we did too.
Yeah, that was so actually fun then.
Season 1 was the only time Mel and I were ever Glads in the entirety of like we switched to Horde and we're like, yeah, let's play a Warlock and a Priest. Because we were Rogue and Druid in Vanilla, and we were Alliance, and then we quit. We lost our accounts somehow. And then and then we had to start new accounts, which we still have to this day, the same accounts. But we had to start new accounts, and we did Warlock, Priest, and there was no like basically lock dots, any any mana burns, all of that was just not in resilience. So half the games when we got up higher, people just quit out. So we just like, but then everyone started to catch up in this season 2 and on. We didn't get Gladiator ever again. We
weren't that good. We were just lucky.
Yeah, we just lucked into it, right? But okay, so how old were you when TBC came out?
Oh, I'm not sure. I want to say I was in like 5th grade when Vanilla came out. So maybe
it would be like 7th grade.
School.
Yeah.
How the fuck did you get in a guild that was doing Illidan?
He was PvP.
Well, yeah. So like me and my friend, one of my friends, my best friend Mirax, actually, he was always in like one of the top guilds in the US, and like he just didn't really talk that often on Ventrilo because like we're 13,
like you wouldn't
12,
let
13-year-old kids, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like that was a no-no. It was 18 or up for like the hardcore guilds.
Yeah, but we just like played so much and we were good, right? Back then, your version of good. And so like it just worked out like that. So it was kind of perfect for us. I rated until then, and then I stopped. I was just focused on PvP for the most part. And then in Wrath, I started raiding again, but I never even entered into Sunwell also back then.
That's crazy. Same with us. Like we did a ton in Vanilla, and then in TBC we're like, I can't raid 5 days a week, 5 to 8 hours a night. Like, let's just go back to TBC. We'll just PvP. Like, they're doing a whole new thing where they have PvP gear. You can gear up without. Little did we know we'd have to still do some bullshit to get certain pieces. Like, but either way, like that's what we did. We didn't see any of it, so that's very interesting. We're kind of the same. And then Wrath, we went on and we didn't even PvP hardly. But so sorry. I keep interrupting.
We're the same boat because in Wrath I kind of moved on directly to raiding again. I stopped PvPing again, and I don't know why. But then what was Legion after? Oh,
Cataclysm.
Cataclysm. I still, even then, I rated in Cataclysm, and forever it was always like Rogue, Paladin, and DK. Once DK came out, those were always like my favorites. And then I stopped in college, started again right after college when Mythic Plus was out, and I think it was Miss Pandaria had challenge modes.
What'd you go
Plus
to college for?
Oh, I went to college for environmental studies and film, and then I also have a minor in business and entrepreneurship.
Nice. Just curious.
Yeah, and then I went to school after college again for music because I started touring as a DJ for a while. So I did.
Nice.
I've kind of done a weird gambit.
There you go.
Nice.
Yeah, and then I got back into WoW. Like with Classic was really when I got back in. I played BFA, and I was like the top ranked tank and DPS on our realm, and like I don't remember what the highest I got. I was like 3K IO, which was probably in the top 100 then, for both of those characters, for Rogue and Paladin tank. And then I just like didn't play that much of Shadowlands, but when Classic came out, I just dove in. I don't know, the nostalgia hit and it sunk in.
Okay, so the first time I heard about Classic was the first BlizzCon that I went to, 2017. They played the trailer and I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm definitely going to go check that out, because we quit in Cata and like literally never looked back. I guess I did come back in MOP. There was a recruiter friend, boost your character up to 85 or no, 90. I think it was 90 then. It was boost your character up to 90. And I like was messing around for about like 20 minutes. And then I looked at talents and saw what they did to talents and just logged out. Then literally never looked back until 2017 when they talked about Classic coming back. And that's when I found out about all the private servers and stuff. So I'm pretty sure if I know you, I'm pretty sure you did play private servers. If you don't want to talk about it, you don't have to either. But
no. I actually didn't. I didn't do any of the well, I ended up running back PvP really heavily for TBC, but for Classic, I never did. I wanted to keep the experience fully like fresh to me, and that's
so you actually waited for like Classic at least beta. Okay, see, that's what I didn't even
play the beta.
Oh, see, because I found out about the private servers and I was like, should I check some of these out before it comes out? I was like, no, I'm just gonna wait. Like the thought of losing all your shit, like without even knowing it's coming, like just sounded horrible to me. But okay, so you actually, because like most of our guests didn't, like they were like lots of them private server players, but so you didn't even play beta.
Nope, I didn't play the beta.
No, but what were your thoughts? Like, why did you come back?
So nostalgia. That same friend that I was mentioning, that when we were playing when we were like 10 and 12, we both decided to play together. So we wanted to level together, and it was a perfect storm timing. I was moving out of LA, quitting doing the music thing and moving in with my ex significant other. So I was leaving, and it was like I was working from home then, because I was still like I was ghost producing for a lot of like the biggest DJs in the world. So I was working from home and I could do that on my own time. And he was like, I want to go hard. And I was like, okay, let's do this. Straight up. We just like didn't sleep for however long it took us. I was the server second rogue, at least on Horde on White Main. And we got like all of the server first. We got every server first. I lost the role on Perdition's Blade and didn't get it until literally until phase 2. It was so bad.
Oh no.
Like, yeah, I pretty much was like, I was really good at PvP still, but at the time I didn't know everything about PvE. And there's one person who kind of like showed me a little bit more like min-maxi mentality. And then I kind of dove into that and wanted to see if I could get rank 1 for rogues in the world throughout the phases.
I'm still I'm still kind of bummed that I didn't play, because I played Rogue at a high level. Like, seems like par for the course, but always server second, like in vanilla on Burning Legion. I think it was either Burning Legion or we had transferred to Bugthal by then. I can't remember, but server second Neff, server second Cthulhu. Like, I was a really good rogue, right?
Yeah.
And like, but I switched to warrior, and I had someone who was kind of like you. I had this guy named Perkies who like basically taught me the ropes of warrior, and I enjoyed that a ton. But some part of me still wishes I would have done rogue, because when you played, well, you didn't raid vanilla, right?
No, I didn't.
Okay,
I did literally just AVs that were weeks long.
Yeah, see, so back in the day,
Are you one of those that misses the week-long AVs?
Not now at all.
Yeah.
It was fun then, but not at all.
well,
Like, are you mad they didn't bring back the week-long AVs? Because there was a little
Definitely not.
population that was like that, and I was like, what?
those were I don't know why anybody thought those were good. They were not good. I'm sorry, I'm on record. But the reason I ask is because people who actually played vanilla back in the day, they know that Dagger was like the like, until we got to basically like end of AQ and Nax, like Dagger was the preferred spec, even though it wasn't as good. We know that now. Like, Swords was definitely better, but it was like everybody thought Dagger was better. So I was just curious about that. But sorry,
I actually played Dagger throughout all of the entirety. Well, for Horde, it's different for the most part, because you don't get like the weapon skill you obviously get for being a human, right?
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
So daggers were stronger in phase 1, weaker in phase 2, stronger in phase 3, and then it's basically
stronger in phase 3 because of the 0.5 set, right?
And because Death Sting is just so strong. Death Sting was like an insane dagger. But then you also move into Nax, and Gressel is just insane. So like swords again are crazy, but realistically, swords was always easier to do higher damage on overall, which is what I kind of focused on, because it's easier to cleave if you can position better. If you're using daggers, your tanks need to position the mobs directly on top of each other because you have to get behind them to cleave.
Yep. Yeah, well, and like back in the day, really, the only people using swords were the awesome, stun lock rogues doing chemo specs, like killing people in Ironforge and in Ogambar and all that. Like, everybody PvE wise was really just sticking to daggers. But sorry, so did you okay, so I don't know how I want to do this, like, because I want to know about how you started actually streaming. Okay. So did you start right off the bat, or did you like find out, oh, I'm doing good here, maybe I should start streaming? Did someone push you to do it?
So it was a combination. So at first, I just wanted to play the game and have fun. I thought about streaming because I've always thought about it. It was always fun, and I actually built the computer because I was originally going to stream Overwatch because I got to like rank 13 on Xbox in the world, and then I peaked at like 297 in top 500 on PC. But then
I was going to say your difference between Xbox and PC on Overwatch.
Oh yeah, it was, the first few weeks was not even really playing the game. It was all aim trainers, because that is massive. But yeah, I like, once I started getting really good after this guy kind of taught me how to play during Molten Core, like kind of gave me some little breakdowns. I was like, why don't other people know all of this information? It's not like in that time, it wasn't the easiest way of like thinking about things. Now it is. So I just started making YouTube videos. I started streaming just like my raid, so like once a week or twice a week. And then I started making YouTube videos that was like how to get all 99s in Molten Core. And then like, here's some tips and tricks that most people don't know about rogues. Like Blade Flurry back in the day before they took out the batching window or whatever, you could actually kind of batch blade flurry where you could use your ability and then like kind of like strafe to the left or the right, and then that blade flurry, that ability would hit the next mob and you can move back, so you could kind of like toggle between. A lot of people also didn't know that you could vanish every ability in the game, so if like ability was targeting you, you could vanish it even after it was cast. A lot of things like that. So I wanted to, like, after this person had helped me improve, I wanted to help other people improve. So that was like the whole thing in Classic, was I wanted to see if I could reach rank 1 in the world for rogues. And then it became trying to compete in rank against the warriors, because warriors is a stronger class. And generally on white main, a lot of times I was able to take rank 1 on the server, but then someone on Risen would just fucking blow that out of the water soon after. But I was able to get rank 1 world a couple times for rogue, so that's good. And that was just, I just wanted to like showcase how to do that for people, like teach them how to do that. That was really what it all started out, was like someone taught me and I was really thankful. So I wanted to like be that like nice place for people that didn't know to do the same thing. So that was originally how I started streaming, and it just kind of like evolved. I mean, I know I got really into the speed running scene and started like covering that. So I do a lot of coverage of all of the runs. And a lot of times a new world record happens, I'll bring in a lot of the people from the run usually and break it down and then upload it to YouTube. I really wish Blizzard would do an official like speed running scene in Wrath of the Lich King. Because I think with Nax,
those were some of the coolest stuff. And if Blizzard does do that, they definitely need to bring you in. Like, but
what do you think got you into speed running?
Well, hold on though. But I thought Blizzard was gonna do that, because remember when they did? Well, actually, we had 2 eSport Blizzard employees on the show, like episode, I don't know, 56 or something like that. And they talked about the tournament, and they hinted at something besides a PvP tournament. Like, I was thinking it was going to be a speed running type of competition similar to the Mythic Quest stuff.
Yeah, it would be epic.
Yeah, like it would be really cool. Like, but that just didn't seem to happen. I'm wondering if it will happen for Wrath, because they just hired a whole bunch of people on for the World of Warcraft team, 100 new employees. So they bought Profliant. I don't know. They bought a company that got them 100 people. They said it's going to World of Warcraft. They didn't specify Classic or retail, but I assume a lot's going to come to Classic. But yeah. So, okay, sorry. But yeah, like I think we all thought that they were going to do something for speedrunning, which would have been really cool. Yeah,
I had that conversation actually. We most recently, me and Crix on our Classic Life podcast, we had Cargos and Grays for Days on, and we were talking about that because he was mentioning that I should reach out, or like we should really like try to put something together. There was one competition that we hosted, or that I hosted in Nax, that had a $10,000 prize pool, and every top guild except for Progress in the world participated, and that was so exciting. We had like tens of thousands of people watching live, which I think with Blizzard's platform could be so much larger too. So so we'll see. Hopefully they do something.
Why didn't
after
Progress
the show let me know? I'll point you in the right direction of who to reach out to, because of the Overwatch League recap, we know a lot of the esports people, and I think we can get you in contact with someone who could actually maybe make this happen.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. So wait, what was my question, Bob?
You said, why didn't Progress participate?
Yeah.
Oh my
Is there drama here?
So Progress for Naxxramas decided the speedrun community is every guild all like sees what another guild does and then tries that new strategy if there's something like crazy, but everybody like roots for people and against them, right? Every other guild wants to see someone else perform well because it's like it's egging you to do even better. And then Progress decided to not stream and not release their Warcraft logs of their world record for a while. So
Rude.
it was like it was, the community definitely like was like spurned about it. It was like, what are you hiding? Oh my
Right.
God, I can't stream it. I have a secret strategy. It's really ridiculous now thinking about it. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was like cool and interesting to see if they were going to like at the last minute release the craziest like strategy. It ended up being a strategy that I theory crafted on one, like a show or on a couple streams and videos like 6 months before, which was kind of cool to see that people finally did it. But they ended up releasing them once they got beaten, once their time was beaten. And they decided not to participate because technically the guild is the best. That guild is generally like the best players in the world. And their mentality isn't necessarily that they do it. It's not that they do it like for fame, for notoriety within like the community, for like streams, for anything like that. It's because they want to challenge themselves and be the best. That is the general leadership mentality, I would say. And I think they would agree with that. So it's not like about like participating. It was like almost gimmicky to participate in the tournament. Although it would have been that way unless we got all of the other top guilds. We did end up getting all of the other top guilds, except for also the Chinese guild couldn't do it because it was at a really bad time for them. But they were all watching. A lot of them were up watching while we were doing the whole tournament. And the competition was great to see all of the guilds run side by side. And you could see at the exact times, like who's a little bit ahead, who's a little bit behind, and switch between the different POVs, which is the same thing you do for like race to world first. But this was the first time with speed running. And I think speed runs are much larger in Classic than world first, because world first is over in like 40 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't see a way around that. Even if they took PTR off, you still have private servers and stuff. Like, there's not going to be a world first race that's ever like as exciting as like the speed run types.
Yeah, because you know the fights, like, and you can figure out a way to do the fights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, regardless of some things are a little different or not. But
yeah.
So okay, so your stream eventually blew up. Like, so you started YouTube first, right? Basically. You were
around the same time, I would say. Sorry for interrupting you.
Oh, no. It's what we do on this show. Feel free to do it anytime. Okay, so at some point your stream blew up, right? Like, was that like during you doing all the speedrun commentary and everything?
I would say it was a slow burn. Like one of the first, like maybe the first month I streamed, I remember I had 13 viewers. The first like few streams, I would literally have the exact same of my friend group, and they were even in the raids, and they would just have the stream up on like a second screen. Yeah. And then there was one day where I had like double digits. It was 13 viewers, literally 13 viewers. And it was like 1 a.m. My girlfriend had work in the morning. She had to wake up at 6. I didn't care. I was so excited. I ran in the room. I was like, you're not going to believe it. Double digits. So I was so stoked. But yeah, as the YouTube videos kept growing, like the stream would slowly grow. And then it was like, as I started, I was very much known as like the rogue guy then. And then within a few months, maybe like 6 months after I started YouTube, another content creator started making rogue videos as well. And I started really like getting really excited about speed runs. And that's, I think, where it kind of took off and growing. Yeah. So yeah, he started making rogue videos also. So then like there's only so much content for the same, like for one class, right? And if I was only making content for that class, I was kind of like growing then. And so then, yeah, speed running really kind of became like what I loved in the game. And I just started making content around that. And I don't know. Yeah, people started enjoying it. So, and I hopefully think that I'm relatively entertaining. I like to just fuck around. I don't know if I'm allowed to curse. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. You're fine. Yeah, it's weird. Streaming's weird. I've just like I was only streaming this show really like on a different channel prior to Season of Mastery Hardcore, and hardcore. I was like, all right, I'm going to stream because I want this all on record that I did this, legit the entire time, and started streaming. And it's a weird thing. Like, so many people like you have educational streams, like where you educate people and tell them. But like my stream's like the opposite. My stream's like where stream teaches me stuff. Like that's like basically like I'm the opposite of what you do. Like they're like, Bob, you can do this. I'm like, really? Oh, okay.
That's great. They're playing with you.
Yep. But yeah, so basically you just like it just kind of happened. Like it just kind of happened slowly because you were wanting to help the community, and you felt you had a way to teach. Like you're still doing YouTube content. I saw that you were doing something where you got a Frost DK guide possibly coming out after a certain goal.
Yeah.
What are you doing now on YouTube? Like what's your main thing?
Oh, it's mostly guides, I would say. I try and sometimes, I don't know, YouTube sucks. I'm sorry. It can be like, I'll post our podcast. I'll post some speedrun reviews if they're crazy. Mostly guides. Right now it's like class guides for Wrath because I want people to know how to do the most with their class. I want them to know what like the realistic rotation is, how good the class is, what talents you should run, what stats are the best, things like that. Like, because as you move into a new expansion, everything changes, and there's a lot of information out there, but a lot of information, I would say, it's hard to put this. A lot of information can either be necessarily wrong or not fully complete, or even misleading, right? So I'm trying to give guides of like the best way to do something so that like when you start playing that class, you'll know how to get the most out of it. You'll know how to instantly basically get 99s, pump in dungeons, pump in raids, and kind of everything from like leveling to raiding and gearing and stuff, and give you like the actual information on like, if this is the situation, here's your rotation, this is what you do, and this is why.
The why is so important. So you do the why, because the how you can find any place. The why is, once you know the why, that's when you can deal with things that come out of the blue. Like
exactly.
Like the how works great on a patchwork fight. The how is perfect. That's all you need to know. But the why is what you need to know anytime you have to move, anytime you have different targets, anytime you know what I mean? Like, so I do like
when
the
something
why.
goes wrong, and it also gets you to not like stray away from your assignment because you don't understand the reason why you're assigned to this particular task, right?
Yeah.
If you understand all of the background noise and everything else, then you're much more inclined to perform better. Yeah,
exactly. And that's what like excites me about the game is like, I'm just a fan of like performance, or I'm competitive. And the idea that there's Warcraft logs and speed runs or anything, I like the competitive nature. I personally like trying to get rank ones. I like to try to go for world's fastest, which hasn't been panning out for us. But I'm competitive and I love that. And I want people to understand how to do things at the highest level, because that can just change a lot of your mindset and you'll be able to perform in all of the different situations. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean,
for sure.
I'm the same way. I'm the guy that's on his warrior doing DKPs as a buyer, but is still fully flasking, scrolling, food, everything, and then I'm the guy that ends the GDKP overall, damage, like number 1 or through 3, like that's the type of, I just like, that's the whole reason I play, is just to do that. Like, I don't want to like just like get gear. Like I want to get gear and look cool, you know?
Yeah. And it's fun being good. It's fun challenging yourself and seeing if you can do better. It's fun seeing if you can do better than other people. And I think that just makes everyone better at the game. And I think that's in my world, it's a really enjoyable way to play the game.
Definitely.
Yeah, for
definitely.
sure.
Well, any plans for your content moving forward?
That's a good question. So I'm currently working on a lot of Death Knight content. I'm going to make class guides for all of the physical classes because I'm going to play Rogue again finally.
Yeah, because Rogue's going to be good, dude. I'm sorry, but I'm thinking like Rogue's going to be good, guys. Like, I don't know about stacking Affy. Like, why don't you just stack Rogues that you can just tricks all around?
Oh, it's gonna be so interesting. I'm really excited. I'm starting to play on North American servers again, on Alliance, on Benediction, and then I'm playing still EU.
Oh, okay. We're on Benediction Alliance. We were forced off of Whitebane.
Yeah, you and your dirty horde friends couldn't let us stay.
I had left by then. Yeah, I saw that. Like, I literally logged in to my Alliance character when I started leveling it in Cozy, my rogue, and I was the only Alliance on the server.
Oh no!
Yeah. It's White. We were like the third to last actual guild that was raiding BT to leave. Like,
and you gave up.
We did. That. I mean, we had to. Like, we couldn't go anywhere in the world. Like,
no, I mean, we couldn't recruit. Like, there was no other alliance left. Like, everybody that was left was in a guild, and that's why they were left. Like,
yep, we had to go. Bad. I pushed for Grob, but they didn't think Grob would stay 50-50. And I mean, honestly, it shouldn't have, but it's still staying like pretty good right now. So it's a bummer. It could have been fun, but
yeah, that's the fun server.
Yeah, Benediction was definitely the smarter play. Just because, you know, for what you want to do raiding.
Yeah, there's a lot of people there and a lot of really competitive guild. It's a huge server too. Recruitment really is on a dying server. It screws you. You lose to the roster boss. So Benediction changes that fully.
Yep. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, to end it out, Wrath Classic. What are you excited about? And then we'll get on to what you're scared about.
I'm excited. Just every class is fun. Every class is fun. Every class has a rotation, even if it's like some sort of priority list instead of it being like more of like Rogue in Classic for Horde was very time-based rotation where you waited for your auto or your weapon swings to go off and then use your abilities every time to min-max and get the most DPS. Because if a Wind Fury procced, it reset your auto shot or your auto swing timer. And then now I play Hunter mostly, and that's also all time-based with clipping and with melee weaving. So it's all very, very high-paced, time-based. But now we're moving into away from like a time-based rotation or like a rhythm-based rotation onto like really just fun, unique rotations for every class. I'm really excited.
Which is more fun, in my opinion.
Yeah, everyone can do something. Like literally, not even a joke. My warlock right now is using just scroll wheel. I scroll wheel my shadow bolt, and I eat food. And I top the meters a lot of times, you know?
Dude,
I'm a priest and I do a lot of scroll wheeling for my circle of healing. That's pretty much.
So on my lock, I have 4 different Shadow Bolt macros. Like one is just Shadow Bolt. One is Shadow Bolt with mana regen, so it takes a dark root or it takes a pot. Then it also has trinkets in there. One's if I want Destro along with trinkets, and then one's I forget what the other one is, but I've got like, and then I've got 2 different seed macros. Like it's just like basically just different variations of like what I want to do with those different spells at a quick pace. But yeah, it's pretty boring compared to all the different lock rotations in Wrath, because I did raid a little bit at Nax with my Destro luck, and it was a really fun rotation, you know. And
yeah.
So,
yeah, no one has like a full 1-button rotation anymore. I think it's going to be really, that's what I'm excited for. I'm also really excited for if they can buff Naxxramas in a way that is actually like meaningful, to do speed runs of Nax with the new classes and all of the new abilities. It fully changes everything, and I'm super excited to see that.
yeah.
Do you think that
especially
them
with
increasing the health?
Undying and all that?
Do you think
Yeah.
them increasing the health of the bosses is going to be enough?
They have to increase the health of the trash, or else it falls over. That's like Naxxramas trash realistically falls over in Wrath of the Lich King, fully falls over, which means like you wouldn't ever run like Unholy DKs or anything that has a ramp up, which is you would just run like Frost DKs that have like everyone gets a rhyme proc and everyone uses Howling Blast and it's all dead instant, like literally instantly.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what they do with it, and I'm really, really excited.
Cool.
Yeah, I think they definitely had to do something with it because we all just did Nax way too like close together here.
Yeah, you have to make it fun, especially with the new classes and stuff.
For sure.
And there's going to be some fun stuff. Like I was just watching a video from Ruggs the other day where he showed 4 horsemen where you just like group up 3 of them all together, and then you have somebody like DI'd right by the 4th one that like keeps aggro but doesn't, you know, like and he's not sure if it's going to work in
it isn't. I don't think it's going to work because there's a lot of things were tested originally. I don't know if that's going to work, but I also know like because I on the non-Blizzard realms, Ruggs and Crix got me into their guild, and that's who I ran with, right? And who showed me a lot of Wrath things before I started min-maxing Wrath, or just like also teaching me things when I was just getting into Wrath again, right? And so that is everyone on private servers does that strategy too.
Well,
we'll see if it works.
Yeah, it's just gonna be neat to see if it works. Like I'm just loving. We're getting all the info up front. Like we don't know if it's right. It's gonna be neat to just see how it actually plays out. You know, that's gonna be neat.
Yeah.
What are your fears?
Trial of the Crusader phase is gonna be really slow because it's just mostly those bosses.
It's fucking horrible.
Yeah. Realistically, I don't think I have any fears. If they don't make speedrunning really, really like entertaining and do well with Nax, I'll probably end up realistically taking a short break from streaming and do some schooling. I'm learning a lot of coding right now, and so coding, I don't know if that's a fear. Just like software design and software engineering, and like back end.
What language?
Ooh, right now it's mostly like CSS, Python, Java.
Python.
Yeah, a little bit of SQL. I'm like currently learning a lot now.
I'm just curious because that was what I was going to go into for my career, but I ended up having a 15-year career as a network and systems engineer. So I started out thinking I was going to be a coder, and then decided I didn't want to sit all day, but definitely coder's the smarter play. Being a systems and network engineer means you're always on call. It's the worst career ever. Don't do it, kids.
Oh my God.
Like if the network or the servers go down,
yeah, we all
nobody
love our
works.
IP.
So you're always on call. So just don't go into that career. But coding, I think, could be like I think I should have done that. But sorry, I didn't mean to derail you. Yeah, because you actually had talked about prior to TBC. I remember being on, I don't know if it was one of your videos or one of your streams, but you talked about that you were going to take a break from streaming to go back to school. And like that seems like it changed because you were still around.
Yeah, I was just having too much fun, realistically. You know? That's really where it is. Like, I just, if I'm having a blast, I'm going to continue doing that. So that's like the only caveat. Like if if Nax is too easy and no one gets into speedrunning it, then it's like, then I'm out. So we'll see, you know.
Okay.
We will see. That's
fair.
my fear.
Yeah, I think TOC is going to be rough. I do look forward to them making the gear a little bit different, but it was always like, it was the weirdest thing with TOC where you bought all the gear outside and it almost like, I don't know, something changed in just not having those drop chances, you know, like you just knew you were going to get this at this amount of time and it kind of cheapened it. Like, that's how it was for me in like original TOC, and I didn't like it at all. But all right, well, are you gonna stay with your same guilds? You talked about mains. You're gonna go back to Rogue. You do Hunter and DK. But are you still gonna stick with your same guilds? Or you plans?
I am gonna play with Salad Bakers on EU, and right now I'm in Fusion on NA, which is the guild Jordy's in. I don't know.
Yeah,
Crix is in it now too.
Yeah, Jordy, Ruggs, Crix are all in there.
Yeah. So that's the guild I'm in on NA, but I'm not on like their rating team or rating roster right now. I don't know yet what I'm doing because I'm leveling EU first.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've been trying to like find a way to like raid on a second character during the day, and it seems like the only way to do that at a high level is to do EU servers.
Yeah.
Oh, but all right. Well, that's I think that's gonna be the show. It's been a good show. I'd like to remind everybody to follow us on Twitter at WC Reloaded. You follow the Mash Those Buttons Network at the Mash Network. If you want to send us an email, do so by sending it to wcrpodcast@gmail.com. If you'd like to join the Discord and know when we go live, it's mash.gg/Discord. Ratings and reviews, we need them. We haven't had one for a month on iTunes. The stars do help us on Spotify, but we can't read anything from you, so it's kind of a bummer. Patreon, we're starting that up. We're hoping to get it going. If you have any ideas for us about tiers, send it to me. I would love to hear some ideas because like we really don't have any. But that's patreon.com/Warcraft Reloaded.
But we will make you better content with your contribution.
Definitely. It plays into it, you know, for sure.
Yeah, back pay for all the toys that Bob ordered.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
We don't do this because we love it. We do it for the money, guys. I mean, look at our Patreon. Yeah. We do this for the money. Oh man. All right. Negative. So Ayle, are you there still? You kind of disappeared on us.
He said he was going to go AFK. He didn't want to talk to Sarthe. He, messaged me personally and was like, "Oh yeah, I don't want to talk to Sarthe."
This fucking guy. All right, well,
I'm just kidding.
Ayle's been starting to stream more. I'll just tell you where to find him. You can find him on twitch.tv/Ayle Gaming. Check him out. He's going to be streaming more of the beta and getting back into that. So check him out. Mel, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Mel Overwatch, or you can find me in game on Benediction on Mel Arena.
Awesome. And Sarthe, plug it all, dude. Where all can we find you, and where can we find the awesome classic life with you and Crix? Like all of it.
Yeah. First of all, thank you so much for having me on the show.
Dude, it's a pleasure, man. You were awesome. It was a
blast. You can find me on Twitch at Sarthe, twitch.tv/Sarthe. Twitter and YouTube are Twitter and YouTube/Sarthe TV, because someone has Sarthe and I don't know who has that.
Rude.
Yeah, right.
Let's go find him. Everybody go find him and, make comments.
A long time ago, I tried to message the person on Instagram that had it because they had 0 followers and 0 posts. And
you're like, come on.
Yeah.
No and they didn't get back to you, I'm guessing.
No, didn't get back to me. And then Instagram didn't help. So
rude.
I don't know. But yeah, and then our podcasts, we're pretty inconsistent about it right now, but we're trying to be better. But we're trying to do podcasts that are going to have deep dives on every class for Wrath of the Lich King with a lot of people that have been playing those classes for the last 10 years. So that alternates between mine and Crix's stream, which is Crix Vibes, and we both upload it to YouTube. So if you want to see any of our past podcasts, the Classic Life podcast, check out youtube.com/SartheTV.
Yep.
I will say I did just go to twitch.tv/Sarthe, and it does take me to your channel.
Boom. Yeah, I have it on Twitch. I have it on Twitch.
That was the one you did have it.
Yeah, that's the one I have.
No wonder it took me to your channel then.
Yeah, my speaking of which, you can find me on Twitter at blazin_Bob, BLAZZIN_BOB, and that's because I guess like someone had my account that like I guess Blazin' Bob is like a hairstyle that like people tried to do years back, but never been able to get that Twitter. So that's why it's _. You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/BlazinBob.
Hey, Ayle's back. You want him to say
it's the Karen cut is the Blazin' Bob.
It looks kind of like that, but it was like a different form of the Bob. But yeah.
I'm back. I hopped out really quick. I'm going away this weekend. No, I love Sarthe actually, and I wanted to come back and tell him that back when we were doing Onslaught, we would watch the videos and had respect for him because he was one of the few guys to actually cover our runs and give us some respect. So we appreciate it.
Oh yeah,
nice.
Everybody else always memed on us because we're Horde, but we just did what we did, and we put up some good times. And
I mean, you chose to be Horde. Like, I mean, that was your fault. And
they got world records. They did it.
Yeah, we held
Horde is
Horde Guild,
right?
Yeah, we were toe to toe with Progress in BWL before we fell off, but
I mean, the gnomes are the best because you can't cast that yet, right?
No,
sorry. Yeah, I just have to play with my toys sometime. Well,
listen, I have to live with this. Just so you guys know,
I told them that you could that they could find you at twitch.tv/Ayle Gaming. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'll be doing a little bit more beta streaming in a little while. So if you want to see some beta streams, I'll be on there on Wrath for a bit.
I think I'm going to ramp it up to once add-ons and 80 characters are in. Like, I'd love to just like do a ton of the raids, but I'm still kind of just like, I don't know how Sarthe does it, like with the like base.
I'm just checking logs. I'm just checking so many logs.
There and you're like bringing the log back. You're looking at the different times. I'm like, oh my God, dude, just give us details.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on the show. We're going to go ahead and end out here. Thank you, everybody in chat. We had a ton of follows, but we just can't really thank them during the show. It kind of throws the show off. But thank you guys so much. And yeah, we're going to get out of here. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you very much for checking out Warcraft Reloaded podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss any future content.